Hey everybody, welcome to Surface Level, creating a community where Black and queer folks are fearless in thought and curious at heart. I'm one of your hosts, Tony, and today, Jordan, Damon, and I are discussing the portrayal of Black queer men in the porn industry. How has our experience with pornography evolved over the years? Are we guilty of perpetuating harmful storylines within our own community? This is cocodorm.com. You have now entered the quiet storm. You have now entered my lair, my sex dungeon.
All right, Candy.
I'm really excited about this episode. I've been wanting to talk about porn. No, I'm kidding.
I've been wanting to talk about this.
I wasn't that excited.
For seasons past.
I gotta like rev it up a little bit because this is a spicy little topic that we're gonna discuss today, and I got a fun little take on our game. You know, we always do a game, but we're gonna do something a little different.
Are we gonna do it nice and easy?
I'm gonna do it nice.
Or we're gonna do it rough
and easy because you gotta coax it before you
hoe it.
Now I'm just saying. So I wanted to test something out, and I'm calling this game "Test Your Kink."
Okay.
So in doing research for this episode, I came across a BDSM test.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I actually heard about this prior to coming across it on the internet when I was listening to another podcast that I love, Catch My Black and Gay podcast. If you don't listen to that, it's all the rage. It's so entertaining. Those guys, they're 3 Black queer guys just like us, but they did this. And when I came across this, I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. I want to see.
This is the one.
So listen, it's a fun educational test to determine what kind of sexual deviant you are. And I'm really curious. And so to simplify, because I was like, what is BDSM? Like, I know the acronym, but I don't really know what the fuck that means. So the term actually is used to describe the aspects of sex that involve bondage, discipline, dominance, and submission. So keep that in mind. So to start the game, I had the ladies of the show do a test. And so I want us to begin by kind of giving predictions on, out of the categories that were available, which one do you think we each ranked the highest for?
Okay.
So, one of you guys want to go first? Do you want me to lead?
You can lead. We're going to follow you.
I'm going to say that for Jordan, he was the submissive. No, I'm kidding. Wow. It's a long list of what you could be, and I want Damon. You could help me out if you have a guess.
I think Jordan is vanilla.
You think he's vanilla? You think that's what he got?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that. This is non-monogamous on here, and I'm not gonna say he's an exhibitionist. But I want to guess. He's not a daddy? Are he his experimentalist?
You don't know that.
She probably answered in the way to get daddy.
I'm gonna say experimentalist.
Am I supposed to reveal what
You're supposed to reveal the top one.
Okay, so I am 100% switch. And okay, so I'm gonna read the description.
Read the description.
Switches like to switch. Always taking a dominant or top position is not for them. Neither is always taking a submissive or bottom position. Some prefer to switch with the same partner or partners. Others have a dominant play partner and a submissive play partner. But in either case, they do not fit on one end of the spectrum. Switches typically pair up with other switches.
Fantastic.
So I would love to say what my number 2 is.
And the girls are really excited. Should we do that first, or should we do each of our top ones and then go into number 2?
I'll just get mine out the way.
Get it out the way, child.
This is a public service announcement.
It's not. I just thought it was funny that
go ahead.
Damon was correct. So my number 2,
vanilla.
I'm 87% vanilla.
I'm bored.
I'm bored.
Vanilla people enjoy regular standard sex.
Oh my God.
And relationship models. Nothing wrong with that. As long as you're
Allegedly.
having fun.
You're
Vanillas typically pair up with
Other
other vanillas.
vanillas.
So if you like to have
Regular
versatile,
standard sex.
standard sex, let me know.
Listen. Okay. Who do we want to guess next? I'm gonna say Damon was some kind of dominant. Is that a primal hunter?
I was gonna say non-monogamous or experimentalist.
Non-monogamous is a good one. That's also high up there. An experimentalist. Damon, reveal.
So I had two 100%.
Oh.
The first was switch.
Oh.
Or one of them was switch, which Jordan described already.
Yeah.
The other was non-monogamous.
Ah.
And non-monogamists do not see sexuality as necessarily a one-on-one thing, whether this means they will have several relationships or just see people outside of their relationship, or even have exquisite constructions, whatever that means. Depends entirely on the person and the situation, but they all have one thing in common. Their sexuality is more than just between them and one fixed partner. Non-monogamous typically pair up with several other non-monogamous. Yeah, non-monogamous switch. And then my other two were really high that I thought were fun.
Okay. Not the man giving us the top four.
I mean, well, because I had four that were over 90%.
Okay, what was the other?
Yeah, what's up? Skipping?
Voyeur
Okay.
Oh.
and exhibitionist.
Wow. Okay, so interesting.
She's not vanilla, honey.
She's not vanilla.
There's nothing wrong
same
with
page-
that.
the same page you're
The test said there was nothing wrong with that.
You know what?
As long as you're having
It
fun.
had to say that.
I'm bored.
Oh, Lord. So, what do you guys think I ranked the highest?
I say switch or exhibitionist.
Okay.
I definitely feel like voyeur is in your future.
Interesting.
And I think that
You know, she probably secretly
switch.
vanilla. No, she probably secretly vanilla. All
She
this other
vanilla,
shit,
you
all this
think
all this
so?
bullshit is new.
Regular.
It's all, it's, it's all a gimmick. It's all a
She's
gimmick.
always been
Mm.
a freak.
Tell us
Okay.
anything.
Listen, no, but you know what? We are sisters. We stick together.
Oh.
Because I just knew, and the only reason I didn't guess this one for Jordan because I wanted to just guess something else. Because I figured that we would all rank number one for Switch, and so that was my 100% was Switch, with Jordan read already,
So
and then my second one was Voyeur.
Ooh.
So you were right about that.
voice.
So voyeurs enjoy watching the nakedness or sexual activity of other people, consensually, of course, and voyeurs typically pair up with exhibitionists. Now, I'm going to give my third because I thought that it wasn't exhibitionist, but I'm an experimentalist.
Okay.
And so experimentalists want to have tried it all. An open mind and an insatiable curiosity are their key features, and they will rarely form an opinion before they have gathered firsthand experience. Get your life. They often have plenty of fantasies and actively pursue to try them out. Experimentalists typically pair up with other experimentalists. Wow.
she's
So
hungry.
here we go. So I do want to know, do we think that it was accurate for ourselves and your own guess for yourself and your guess for each other? Obviously, we already did that. But for yourself, do you think it was accurate?
Yeah.
I was right every time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was accurate.
I wouldn't use the word vanilla, but like
beige,
I would.
beige,
I would
Eggshell.
lettuce.
A crew.
I would just say that, you know, like some people just enjoy like a nice, calm evening
Classic.
of sex.
Like
Like,
a
why does it
classic.
always have to be like, you know,
Bring it
knocking
the
the door
old
down,
way.
like, ripping the TV off the screen? Like, we don't need to, like, you know, just
Oh my
just
god!
get your-
Now the voyeur
get your
in
life
me,
and go out for sushi.
the voyeur in me wants to just see like. I be sitting there like,
Is it over?
you know, because what I would have done was,
Is it over?
then I'm giving notes, because what I would have done, actually, I
giving
want to
notes.
direct the scene. Now, any surprises? Anything that you thought you see that you didn't see? Or anything that surprised you in a way that was like, oh, okay.
No, well, all the things that popped into this app, I was like, this makes sense. All that, like, there are a lot. If any of our listeners decide to take the test, I think we're going to put it up in our stories so you can play along.
Yes.
But there were like all these options about being animals and
Masochist.
It was so crazy.
You're
I
into
was
being
like-
degraded. You're into age play. You're into being like a
Right.
pet.
A pet.
I was just like,
the
why
pet
would
one
it
was
be
was weird. Like,
There were, it was also one of those things where I was just like, this is not just for black people. There were a lot of slave questions, and I
There
was just
were
like, I don't
There
want to
was
be
a
a
lot of
slave.
slave questions. I was just like, can we give it up?
I'm like,
I was just like, why
no.
y'all keep asking me about? I don't want to be a slave.
This is not the slave play.
this is not slave play.
This is not.
But I
slave
thought
play.
it was such a fun, like, as I was going through, I was like, this will be something great to take back to you guys, for us to participate in, but also
No,
for
it's
our
fun.
listeners to
Yeah, it was
participate
fun.
in. So we're going to share that for sure and,
Yeah.
and get into what you girls, your deviant
Right.
side.
You can find which version of a switch you like. We have three different versions. Of
I
a
was
switch.
like, switch is like, is that like verse?
Basically.
Yeah,
Okay,
basically.
That's what I thought.
All right, so
Yeah.
so delving into our very serious conversation about pornography today. So we'd like to typically start with very personal experiences.
Yeah.
So what's been our evolution of our experience with porn? How did we discover it? What's our relationship? What was our relationship to it? And how's our consumption of it changed over time? Jordan's making that funny face. So I'm just
my foray into pornography started, back at the tender age of, I don't know, below 10.
Below
Below 10.
On TV there was Real Sex on HBO.
Real sex.
And I would watch that in the living room because I shared a bedroom with my cousin. So like the only privacy that I got late at night was in the living room, and I would watch Real Sex late at night
On the last button.
with the Cartoon Network was always programmed to be the last channel, so that if anybody ever came downstairs, I would immediately change it.
Switch.
And then Dexter's Laboratory would show
It's
up.
all fun and games to the batteries and the remote die.
Woo! I never had that experience.
A nightmare.
But then I evolved once we got once we got internet.
internet.
And I started downloading porn. It took like 6 hours to download 15 minutes of a blurry video.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds accurate.
And then I think that, today I'm more so like, I'm not really into like a porn studio moment. I'm more into like a OnlyFans, like content creators, like from different pockets of the world, just like creating like pornography. And I usually just like consume porn like on my phone. Like I'm no longer like on the TV or on the computer. So, that's like been like the evolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
We love the evolution. Well, listen, because you brought up 10 years old. And so I definitely have some information about this.
You gotta
wait
put
a damn
your glasses on.
Yeah, and it's important information. It's vital information. And so studies show that most young people are exposed to porn by the age of 13. And according to a nationally representative survey of U.S. teens, 84% of 14 to 18-year-old males have viewed pornography. And what's consumed in porn is often processed as reality.
Yeah.
We're going to get into that later. Get your life.
Yes.
And then it says one study shows that approximately 45% of teens who consume porn did so in part, that's important, in part, to learn about sex. So that 10-year-old moment you had was like right on par with kind of where the study shows that people are.
My mother was an early bloomer. What you talking about? She's 30% earlier than
When was you watching porn?
I don't know.
Well,
10.
Well, probably 10.
Right.
probably,
Girl,
right.
No, I'm old.
But no, so I love the framing of like this question because we talk about the discovery, the evolution of our use of pornography, and then also how we consume it.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the discovery, I was thinking about like this came to me the other day, thinking about going into like Blockbuster or like those tape shops that had the X-rated section that you would go in. Like that was probably some of the earlier because you would go into Blockbuster with like your parents or whoever, and there would be that section.
I wouldn't even look long enough because I didn't want my parents to think that I even had interest in like
bitch.
The human anatomy.
Remember.
I would just be like, oh my God.
I didn't remember until this moment that I tried to steal a video
Oh
out
my
of one
God.
of those fucking stores when I was with my aunt.
You would be the one of the three
I
of
was a
us
wild.
still pouring out of the
I was trying to
blockbuster.
steal porn. And
I gotta have
and
it.
I remember
I
was
gotta
just-
have it. I gotta have it.
I haven't thought about that in years.
Bitch, when I say it came to me in preparation for this episode, I was like, wait a minute, I
It
forgot
came to you.
about.
Did you come to it?
I came to it. It came to me. But no, so when I thought about that kind of like blew my mind. And then when I'm thinking about like porn and the introduction of it to me was really like heterosexual porn. And it started
Right,
with like
yeah.
the HBO, like late night television after certain hours. It was a lot of soft porn going on.
Right.
And one of the shows that I was obsessed with that I'm glad Damon actually brought it up today.
Queer as
is
folk.
Queer as Folk is coming back. And
Bitch.
that was a show that really got me
Going.
More
excited
embarrassing.
about
I
life.
didn't watch that growing up.
More embarrassing stories about
good.
Damon.
It was good.
We didn't have Showtime, but like whatever channel Showtime was came in this like, it was like blurry. It looked like one of them snowstorm channels.
Yeah.
But it would like every like minute or so would pop on and you could see what was happening.
Oh,
And I would watch Queer as Folk that way. Because
Bitch.
I couldn't really watch it because it wasn't we
Yeah.
didn't have the channel, but like
Yeah.
for whatever reason it like came in halfway, half out. And I remember watching Queer as Folk. I found these gay people on the TV and I was just
Yep.
like, I gotta consume this. Brian and Justin.
they were
and
doing
all
the
those
things.
doing
Queer
the
as Folk was
things.
one of my favorite.
How old were we when this came out?
Young.
We
were young.
I didn't even know
Queer as
about
Folk
this.
was in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
We were
So we had to be
young.
like 12,
I don't even.
13.
I wasn't even in high school.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been.
I think I was too scared to watch
Couldn't
it
have
like
been.
that in my house.
She watching real sex, but she too scared.
Well, no, I was okay with being caught watching heterosexual porn. I wasn't okay with being caught watching gay porn. 'cause I
So
just
that was
felt
the
like-
Well,
workaround.
it wasn't porn. It was a show.
It was soft porn, but it was guy on guy action. It was guy on guy.
still.
It was guy on guy.
Even if
action.
gay guys are just walking around eating
Yeah.
dinner at the Olive Garden,
Yeah.
it's porn
Yeah,
to
there
like
you go.
straight people who don't get it.
Yeah, and so listen, I thought about how the discovery of being able to search for it online, and for some reason, I don't know if this is true or not. I was like, was I downloading porn on LimeWire?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
okay, and then that was the thing that took like
Morpheus, Napster.
you would start it and go to school, and then come back and hope that
Not Jordan. She
Well,
said
no,
at
no,
that,
no,
at
no,
that
no.
computer for 6 hours. Nobody
yeah,
touched it.
like,
Oh, no,
exactly.
no, no,
you
no,
don't.
no.
You don't leave the computer unguarded.
I left it in my room because my mom was
You-
also at work, and she would be
Okay,
gone. Yeah, she
got
was gone
you.
to work, and then I would start it, and then I would let it do what it did, and then I would come back hoping that.
I was a more of a middle of the night person.
child,
like when
sometimes
everybody went to sleep, then I would like do all of my
Yeah.
deviant things.
No, but again, like when it froze, bitch, that's when you was upset because of how
Hello?
long it took.
The file corrupted.
Now, when I think about the evolution of how I use porn and that, moment, I think about my relationship with porn is actually a very healthy one. But there are ebbs and flows, literally. And so sometimes I consume it more than other times. When I was younger, it might have been a lot more, but now, present day, it's like, when I think about it, it's not necessarily an everyday thing anymore. And I think about those sites like XTube and MyVidster and Pornhub and Tumblr. I wasn't a Tumblr girl, actually.
Oh, I
I'd
love
never had
Tumblr.
Tumblr.
Oh my
It
god, I
was-
was
that
so
was
late
such
to
a-
Tumblr.
It was such a good time.
I know.
You
it
had to
seemed
be
like
there.
a good time. I was there at the tail end.
You
I
had
was
to be
sad
there.
that I
It was
wasn't there for
great.
longer.
Yeah, I missed the Tumblr, but then like Tumblr went away and Freak Twitter but
Love Twitter.
rose to the
Please.
occasion. And so now I feel like that's my source of inspiration. Like I just go on Twitter, child. I don't even Freak Twitter. Well, it's actually unmatched right now. It's giving
Right.
it's the number one source.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the song and the dance of it all.
Yeah, I think my prior experience with porn is not that different from you all, and I obviously told my story about stealing from, I don't know, it was a Blockbuster or something.
Yeah.
Trying to, Joe, got caught.
Oh.
Sorry.
But I would say today, I have a very healthy relationship.
Okay.
I probably watch porn every day. Like
Really?
not for some extended period of time, but like It's on my Twitter. It's very
Just to
easy.
get
Well,
my-
sometimes it's just fun to just
Right.
look at it.
And then, like, for me,
not even to
Right.
necessarily like masturbate. Sometimes
Right.
it's just like,
I'm like, what they talking about?
the girl
Keep up with my favorite creators.
Who putting their dick out today?
right now. All right,
Right,
see,
but-
girl.
And it's also
Yes.
like Twitter, like, and we talk about Twitter, like, it's like, what fantasy do I want to live today?
Ooh.
So, and like, if we go back to the quiz we took,
Yeah.
like me as an exhibitionist, like, I
Mm-hmm.
can't always personally experience everything I may be interested in.
Yeah.
But like, sometimes I can live my fantasy through someone else.
So
Right.
wait,
And
wait.
then-
Just describe the exhibitionist for a second.
It's just about wanting different experiences, unique ones, varied experiences. And
Okay.
it's not just about
Because I'm trying to decipher the difference between experimentalist and
I think
exhibition.
experimentalist is just like you try everything once, and I think
Got it.
exhibitionist is just like you like a whole bunch of stuff consistently.
Okay.
I thought exhibitionist meant you just like flash people.
No, what?
Flash people.
That was
Did I make that?
Okay,
up?
so actually, I'm back on the game, and
Like,
so
you like to let it all hang
it says
out.
exhibitionists enjoy showing their naked body or a sexual activity to other people.
I'm not crazy.
Consensually, of course.
Consensually, flashing people is not
Consensually, of course.
consensual.
You could flash people consensually.
And exhibitionists usually pair up with voyeurs. So
That was one of my.
got a lot of
that was
pairs in
like
this
my
room.
fourth-
So like red light district in Amsterdam.
yeah,
That's exhibitionism.
Yeah.
The girls are so, are
Exhibition.
so rich.
sorry.
So it's like when you go to Amsterdam and you're
If you want an
It's like
upscale
when you go to
sexual
Amsterdam,
experience, you
yeah.
can go to Amsterdam. I think actually Amsterdam's gonna be my first solo trip that I've
You
ever
should
done.
do it.
Yeah.
They all speak English, and it's a black community out
Fantastic.
there.
You ain't
Fantastic.
gonna like me. So just moving forward, we've obviously joked a lot, but within the porn industry, there's a long history of sexual racism, fetishization, specific to black men in the industry. Do we think that we are guilty of perpetuating these harmful storylines and fetishization of black men within our community?
Yes.
Trying to send me to BBC, baby.
Okay.
No, I mean,
She goes onto her computer and
conscious.
types in BBC.
you know, I think the theme of this season,
Which means big black consciousness, by the way. If you
You
look
can
at
buy
Damon's
it
shirt,
on
you
surface
can
level.
buy you a shirt
okay,
on
Damon.
surflevel.com/the shop.
Yeah, like I think that the images that we view in porn, you mentioned it earlier, Tony, but like they impact the way that we view reality,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if
Yep.
these studios are being very intentional about only hiring dark skin, black, 6'3" muscular tops, and that's the only black people that they're interested in having in as a part of their porn company,
Yeah.
and pairing them with, you know, more slimmer build, shorter, white, thin, wavy men, then if that's what we're constantly seeing, when you go out into the real world, you start to associate certain like sexual positions with different like identities or like physical makeup. And I think that obviously today I have like a different mentality, but I think that like just being introduced into the real gay world, which was like when I just moved to New York and started like really truly experimenting with men, I sort of used like porn as a guide to help me identify who I was dealing with and what I expected from them.
Yeah.
So yeah, like this is no different than a standard media representation conversation.
Right.
Like in the same way that we talk about like Hollywood needing to hire more like black like people in like different diversity so that people can see themselves there. It's the same exact thing with porn. Like when you see those images, that sort of becomes what you expect in reality.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think so. Not anymore, but surely when I was just getting my bearings in the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony.
No, so one of the things that came up and is a documentary that I don't think is actually viewable right now. It's called Being Black in Porn. I can't wait till I can watch this, but a lot of the research that I found was in articles that had to do with like this documentary. And so it talked about Black guys being cast as servants, as thugs, also facing white performers who refuse to perform with them because of the color of their skin. Also talking about like stereotypes. Black men are expected to have large penises, and when they don't, they're made to bottom. The inequalities, that knowing that BBC is one of the top searched for terms in porn, and but also while that being one of the most top searched terms in porn, Black guys in queer porn are paid a lot less.
Yeah.
And then there's storylines that talked about, from the storyline aspect of it all, is the industry leading into blurring the lines, taking advantage of someone that seems shy and innocent at first, and you give them a few drinks and you get them a little loose, and then all of a sudden they getting like dug out.
I don't think I was supposed to laugh at that.
No, I mean, I just
You
wasn't.
weren't supposed to laugh.
I just wasn't expecting the
You know,
right
my
choice.
delivery, my delivery sometimes.
And
So when I thought about it, this question, I really had to sit with myself, because I said, this is something that I never actually took the time to even consider. I never thought about, nor did it register, that systemic racism is rampant everywhere.
Every pocket.
Even
of the
porn isn't safe.
Right.
Even porn isn't safe. And I know nothing was in my mind, or did I think of, did I ever think of porn being a place where it's just like, oh, it's more of the same shit that we deal with in regular corporate America. And so I do think, though, that because of the system of it all, now that I realize, is that we've been roped into participating in it, and a lot of what we see is kind of like what Jordan was saying. We come to accept it, and we've come to participate in it, and perception becomes reality. And so in this case, a lot of what we see, we believe until we can unlearn, based on conversations like these. And I was flabbergasted.
Right.
Literally.
Yeah, no, and just like in like my experience coming into my own learning who I was sexually, like porn taught me, I'm like, oh, I have to be a bottom. I'm small, I'm thin, like I don't have 6 feet of dick. Like I that must mean that this is the sexual position that I have to have, and I think that it just diminishes the fact that like everybody likes so many different types of things, and there's so much diversity. And I think, to the point Jordan was making earlier about enjoying kind of the more of the content creator porn that's happening now, it's just because you can get whatever you want, because whomever decides they want to be sexual, they can turn a camera on and they can share that experience with you, and it's not just stuck to some like executive studio producer or whomever that says like,
or also a category.
Yeah, right.
You know, the girls love a category. I mean, so what do you say to people who, you know, they view porn as like, pornography as like art, fantasy, and they might feel like, you know, us trying to make it more than just a fantasy is not necessary. Like, do you have any comments for someone who has that point of view, Tony?
So, as it relates to like the fantasy of it all, I don't know. I feel, according to myself and Pastor Kevin Edward Taylor, I desire what I deserve, and I deserve what I desire. So with that being said, like, porn is like giving disclaimer teas, like, do not try this at home.
Yeah.
But for me, I believe in manifestation, and what I see, I can make happen.
So you are.
And so I think, I can have sex like a porn star, and I'm capable of it, and I know this to be true. Now that's not for everyone, and a lot of you shouldn't try what you see at home. A lot of you shouldn't try. And also, I think
you are not me.
Listen, but also people get hung up because the expectation They have. When like you can't find someone else who can fuck like a porn star, you know, that's not just your everyday person that you meet. And so you just got to do a little bit more work to get there. But I do believe that you can live out the fantasy in the way in which you want to. At least I can.
Yeah.
But
You may want to be a vanilla switch.
I might. No, I don't want to be no damn.
Excuse me.
Listen now.
Some people want to be vanilla switch.
Listen now. I don't want the. I'm a regular degular girl from the Bronx, but I don't want regular degular sex from anywhere or anyone.
No, you know what I think? I've said this before on the podcast, and it was ironic that we were just like systemic racism gets anywhere. And
Wait, say that again?
I've what I'm about to say I've said previously on the podcast, and I think that thematically, porn feels like, oh my God, it's this topic to itself, but like it ties to so many of the things we've talked about. And for me, any type of art, any type of way that you transmit thoughts, ideas to large groups of people should require some level of responsibility. And I've said the same thing about music. I've said the same thing about like separating art from the artist and all these things. But I don't believe in just giving passes to anything, any art, anything to just say like, it is what it is and it's okay and it's just fantasy. And I think that that's such a cop out to how we interact in this world. I think that social media, the influences of what you see on the internet is so prevalent and so it runs rampant in how you view the world, how you think of yourself. And I think that as humans in any setting, we should be just trying to do more to make each other feel more seen, valued, etc. And I think that anything that is at odds with that, like we should question ourselves about it. And for me, that extends to porn.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that we should challenge everyone. And I think that by challenging people, like maybe the storylines change. We try to, I guess, fight racism that's going on in the porn industry. However, I still stand 10 toes down on the sex that's being had there can be the sex that I have.
No, but for real, when I say being conscious of all the things, it's not just that I think that it needs to all be polite and lovely.
Okay.
I think that there should also be a level of respect giving to like, sometimes you want to be fucking slutted out and be nasty and be a little animal lapped up in a cage or whatever they said in that test.
Child, that test was crazy.
But I think the whole span of sexuality is something that requires a level of responsibility as humans and like how we treat each other's bodies, consent, so on and so forth. And I think that I don't have anything else to add to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, yes, like porn should be an escape. Porn should be art. Porn should be a fantasy. But I think the issue that we've been dealing with is that there's only been a select few fantasies that have been shared with consumers. And I think, and I'm not to say that like these studios need to now like shift their whole creative direction and have like a whole new thing. First of all, yes, you don't need to shift your creative direction. Pay all of your workers the same. Period. Pay all the talent the same. But like what I think is important and what I love about the evolution of pornography is the same thing I love about like social media, is that like places like Twitter and places like OnlyFans is truly democratizing pornography and sexuality. To your point earlier today, Tony, you talked about like how young people look to porn to learn about their own sexuality. What does it mean when a person is trying to find out about their sexuality and they only are exposed to 2% of the sexuality that actually takes place?
Okay.
Right.
You know, like I, for one, have never seen so much like cisgender man on trans man homosexual sex before in my life, rather than like the last like 3 years. And it's things like that where it's just like that can allow people to see themselves in their own sexuality.
100%.
And I don't want to rely on insert name of, you know, like studio who says that it just has to be BBC and Twink. You know, like I think that the more that we can sort of enable people to create the content that reflects their true sexuality, people can then begin to embrace their own true sexuality, and they'll just be like overall just like more inclusion and just more like understanding and more respect for different people's preferences. But the more that we try to like gatekeep porn and say like, no, like we're not going to do that, we're not going to bring this actor on, we're not going to do this, like, and I'm going to make sure they can't work in this industry, like that's when it gets to a point that is not helpful for
anyone,
humanity. You're looking out for a business, but like you're actually impacting a bunch of people who don't really have any insight into how they might want to explore their sexuality or what their sexuality might be. So sure, have your fantasy, but like be okay with the fact that there should be limitless fantasies going on.
So is it safe to say that the host of this show would welcome porn into your relationship dynamic?
What do you mean? Like watching it together?
Watching it together, or watching it separately?
I fucked with some porn recently. It was fun.
Wait, what?
I fucked with some porn recently. It was fun.
Oh yeah, that
on the TV?
Yeah.
Do you have music playing or just the audio from the?
It was the audio.
Just the audio.
Just the audio, no music. But
well, either or works.
Yeah. I mean,
as a voyeur. As the resident voyeur, I can say that they both get the job done.
Said no, I gotta fuck the Flo Millie.
Not Flo Millie.
That's what you just have to wear.
You can't listen to the audio from the porn. You can't. I mean,
no, that's
actually,
it's
yeah.
too
Like
it needs to be more vanilla.
I can. No, but like I like a music soundtrack.
I love a music soundtrack. I preferably fuck to a music soundtrack. But
yeah,
fantastic.
That's what I was asking. I was just like, do you
up?
prefer to like be on?
That's enough.
You know what? At the end of the day, that's all the time that we have this week. This season, we're raising money for the Ali Forney Center, an organization committed to protecting LGBTQIA+ youths from homelessness and empowering them to live independently. One of the ways you can help is by joining our surface level small talk conversation on Tuesday, July 26th. Small Talk is a live audio platform where you can join an intimate discussion with us. And 100% of the tips that we receive in our Small Talk will go directly to Ali Forney Center. For details on how to RSVP for the Small Talk, visit surfacelevelpodcast.com, and remember, stay curious.